Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Hi, I'm Terry Sullivan and welcome to today's Sticks Radio Show here on Seclo Sounds. Today as my guest I have Gary Fletcher. He's guitarist with the Fabulous Blues Band. We're going to be talking to Gary in a few minutes, but first let's kick the show off today with a band that Gary's also in called the Gary Fletcher Band. Great name for a great band. This is from their album Giant for the Blue. This is I Take It Love.
I see the picture, I read the news, I watch the TV in my search for truth. Information is all around, explanation so really found. It takes love to separate right from wrong. It takes love to understand weak and strong. It takes love to help those with no way to choose. It takes love. Ain't that the truth? It takes love. I hear the speeches, search by words. I hear the preachers tell who they serve. Find salvation, give to the poor. Take retribution, take us all to war. It takes love to separate right from wrong. It takes love to understand weak and strong. It takes love to help those with no way to choose. It takes love, love. Ain't that the truth? Take love.
country music. From the 1930s to the present day. Join me, Irene Entwistle, Monday evenings, 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. Seclo Country with Irene Entwistle on seclosounds.org.
Joining me on the show today is 1/5 of the blues band. It's Gary Fletcher. How you doing, Gary?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Good. I mean, a lot of people know about the blues band, which was founded in 1979. You were there at the very beginning, weren't you?
Yeah, well, apart from Rob, we all were actually. Rob joined in '81, I think, when Hughie Flint left the drum chair, as it were. But yep, I was certainly there at the inception.
It must have been. I mean, whose idea was it to sort of get yourself together?
I think it was Paul more than anybody, because he was in. I think he was in a play at the Riverside Theatre, I think, or something like that. But he was acting for a living. I think he was doing the odd session on harmonica, but by and large he was making his crust from acting. And I think it was around the time that punk had kind of been, I wouldn't say it had gone, but it had certainly, the Feel-Goods and Lou Lewis and guys like that before punk, and then right through that punk period, really shook up the pub scene. So you could really go and play, R&B, blues, etc. in pubs. And I think Paul used to go to the Hope and Anchor in Islington and Bridge House in Canning Town quite a bit, and really, enjoyed watching and thought, well, actually, I'd really like to do that. And to be honest, I think it was only for 2 gigs. That was the plan, because he was pretty busy. But he always intended that it wouldn't just be a 12-bar jamming band. We would actually play some arrangements and stuff, which is.
It's sort of, that's not too bad. I only wanted to do 2 gigs, and you were now 30 plus years on.
Yeah, I mean, it's 34 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's right.
It absolutely steamrolled. We did. I think the first gig was at the Bridge House in Canning Town, and I think we might have then done the Hope and Anchor. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But we used to do the Bridge House a bit, and then the Half Moon Putney, and a few of the sort of seminal sort of London gigs. The Golden Lion in Fulham, that was a good one at the time. And it just, I don't know, it was a classic right place, right time scenario, and I think it kind of took off vertically almost, and it was a fabulous thing to be part of at that point. I'd never experienced that. I obviously the other guys, or certainly Tom and Paul, had experienced it with the Manfred Mann.
Yeah, I remember Manfred Mann very well, actually. Very, very well. And I had the pleasure of seeing Mike Dablow the other week from...
Oh, really? Where?
Over in Shuttleworth. He was playing an outdoor concert.
Oh, he's such a nice guy as well, Mike, and easily the most talented writer, certainly in the Manfred's history, and one of the great English songwriters, I think.
Yeah, it was a great night.
Glad Rags is, it's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah, it was Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers, and Chris Farlow was with him as well. It was quite an interesting evening.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a nice night, so it was a good night. Yeah, but you before you were in the blues band, you sort of, how did you sort of get started in music?
I didn't start until quite late. I was about 17, I think, when I first picked the guitar up, and I wasn't terribly interested in music before that, because I was too occupied with hobbies and things like that, and just sport and all that sort of thing. But then I heard I think it was the first Fleetwood Mac album, and then I went out and bought Eddie Boyd with Fleetwood Mac, and that sort of blues thing kind of bit then, and I remember buying Wheels of Fire by The Cream, which was a bit heavier, obviously, and it just kind of bit from there, I suppose. And then I was also very into folk rock as well. I really liked Fairport Convention and things like that at the time as well, and I suppose those sort of experiences inspired me to pick up. In fact, I picked up my sister's acoustic guitar, which I didn't realise guitars were handed. That's how ignorant I was. And of course, it was a right right-handed guitar, but I play left-handed, and from that day to this, I still play a right-handed guitar left-handed. I don't restring it. So
really?
It's the wrong way around.
That must be extra sort of difficult to play, isn't it?
I think I'd be claiming sort of more credit than I deserve if I said it was more difficult. It's more difficult only in the sense that you can't easily follow any tutors or any. I remember buying Bert Whedon playing a day book before I realised that I was playing wrong, and or playing upside down, and I couldn't understand why it was so hard. And he kept talking about right hand, left hand, and I was thinking, no, I'm using my right hand there, and this book's wrong. But of course it wasn't, because the likes of Clapton, etc., learned from it. So yeah. I'm afraid my copy didn't get used very much.
Yeah, it didn't even get through the first morning, let alone the day.
No, exactly. Yeah.
I must admit, I didn't know there was left-handed and right-handed guitars. I don't play any instruments, so that's possibly the reason why.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sort of commonly known thing, really.
Ah, that's good. Then you joined a band called Breath of Life, didn't you?
Yeah, which was it was only just life, really. It was a three-piece band, and I was brought in as the bass player. I only really wanted to play bass to start with. I only really went on to guitar when I needed to start explaining the songs that I was writing to people better than I could on the bass. But I got the gig on the strength of knowing the riff to Spoonful, which is only two notes, D and E. And that was one more riff than the incumbent bass player knew, who was a blissfully good-looking sort of guy. The babes dropped at his feet, and he had all the right gear, Fender bass and Marshall amp, but he was so bad they didn't even plug him in. So, I just got the gig under false pretenses almost, but I was lucky, and also I ended up doing quite a lot of singing in that band, and I'm not the greatest singer on the planet now, but I was truly appalling then. So
I've gone the other
really sums it up, I think. Yeah.
I've gone the other way. I used to be a great good singer when I was a young lad, and now it's dreadful.
Well, I'm sure you're doing yourself a grave disservice.
Oh no, I can assure you I'm not. The when did you first sort of discover you could write songs?
Quite early on, really, and I think. What we were just talking about now, playing upside down and it being difficult to learn things, I think I started, I'd pick up and I'd teach myself some new chord or whatever, and I'd think, that sounds good, and I wonder if that one goes with that, and I guess I found it easier than trying to copy anybody else. In fact, I think to this day I'm so rubbish at copying other people that the only way I can do anything really is to write my own stuff. That was there wasn't any kind of burning artistic desire to express my innermost thoughts to the world at large at that point.
Okay, and then you after you left the Breath of Life, you went on and played with Garfield Rowe.
Yeah, that was a folk rock band, and then after that, I was in a band called Brian Chalker and the New Frontier. And Brian is a country singer and a journalist as well, I think. And that was my first pro gig. And the advert said folk rock band require bass player. I thought, that's right up my street. With a bluesy tinge, that's right, they said. But when I got there, it was just really a straight country and western trio, really. It was Brian playing a 5-string guitar in a very rudimentary way. A very nice guitarist called Dave Lurie and myself, and that was it. And we played kind of country and western clubs and things like that, which was an education, that's for sure.
I bet you. Was it just after that you then joined Panama Scandal?
Yeah, that was a more serious attempt. We got signed by EMI. Well, we didn't get signed. We got a heads of agreement from EMI, and this would have been in 76 or 77, something like that. It was the year that the Pistols broke through, because immediately they sort of, they hit the headlines, if you like, and EMI wanted to get into that, and they basically I wouldn't say we were a prog rock. We were kind of a bit, it's probably over flattering it actually, but to say it was a bit like a Steely Dan type of thing, sort of bluesy-ish, but quite complex and that just fell from favour almost instantly when the Sex Pistols and Clash, etc.
I remember the Sex Pistols.
So
Well,
we didn't get signed after all.
yeah, I remember the Sex Pistols. Well, I'm of that age so that I can remember them. Then you joined a band called Sam Apple Pie.
That was another pro band, and they had a few albums out and been touring relentlessly for years, actually. And I came in with the drummer from Panama Scandal, and that was a great little four-piece, which I had a lot of fun in. It was really good. And we were playing all the sort of London pub circuit, and which you could make, I wouldn't say a good living, but you could make a sort of half-decent living out of the London pub circuit. And then, going out of town, we used to go up to Leeds quite regularly in places like that. And that was, it was good fun. Full-on British R&B, really. Just outrageously fast numbers, almost punkish in a way.
Is that because that was the band that they suddenly became the Vapors? Is that right? Vipers.
Vipers, that's right. We became the Vipers as and when we thought we needed to be more punky, and we've just played the same material twice as fast. So it was a bit of a con, really. But we were trying to stay abreast of the changing scene, and we actually had a really good agent at the time, who Neil. Oh God, I've forgotten his surname now, but he's quite famous in the world of agencies. In fact, I think he runs a really big outfit called The Agency. Neil Warnock, really nice guy actually, and he'd been a fan of Sam Pie for years and years, and really, I don't suppose we ever made him any money at all that was worth the name money, but he did get us quite a lot of gigs.
Okay, let's take a break, Gary. We'll play a track from your very latest studio album. It's called A Few Short Lines. This is the title track. And we're back having a little chat with Gary after this record.
Sports MK with Marky J every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Seclo Sounds, bringing you the best sports coverage in Milton Keynes. Make sure your sport is covered. Email sportsmk@seclosounds.org and join me, Marky J, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Sports MK on seclosounds.org.
This is Seclo Sounds, and you can listen to us by clicking Listen Live on our homepage at seclosounds.org for a choice of players. Via TuneIn Radio at www.tunein.com, search for Seclo Sounds and listen online or download the TuneIn app. You can download the Seclo Sounds iPhone app from the iTunes App Store, and you can listen to us on demand at our replay page.
Then you joined up with Steve Girl and Connick and created the Wild Turkey.
I wasn't in Wild Turkey.
Oh, you weren't?
Steve went off to Wild Turkey. Steve and I, we got my first publishing deal was a deal that it was three of us. It was Steve, myself, and my then wife Hilary. We got signed by Heath Levy Publishing, and I mean I'd known Steve for years and years and years, and he and I kind of got into music at the same time. I think really back in the sort of when I was 17, and we were playing in. Glenn Cornett was the bass player from Jethro Tull, and he left Jethro Tull, and his mum and dad ran a pub in Streatham Hill, and all his gear got sent there and stored on this little stage, and Glenn said that I could borrow some equipment, and he lent me a Gibson DB3 bass, and he really got into Garfield Row. He really liked what we did, and eventually when he decided to form Wild Turkey, he nicked one of the guitar players, and he was doing most of the singing as well, a guy called John Blackwell, and Steve Girl went with him playing keyboards.
Yeah. Then you joined a band called the Wildcats, is that right?
Well, that was a kind of occasional thing. I wouldn't say it was a full-time band, although we did a fair number of gigs. We only ever played at the Bridge House in Canning Town again, and that was how I knew of Dave Kelly before, because I grew up in Streatham, where he grew up, but I was a little bit, well, still am a little bit younger than him, so I didn't kind of hang out with him and his sort of pals, so I didn't really know him at all, but he was involved in this Wildcats thing, and from there, he got the call first from Tom McGuinness, I think, about, Paul and he were trying to form this blues band, and it was through Dave that I got the blues band gig, really, because I think Jerry McAvoy from Rory Gallagher's band was going to do it originally, but Donald Gallagher, Rory's brother, who managed them, I don't think liked his boys playing away, as it were. So Jerry backed out of it, and surprisingly, they couldn't think of another bass player, and Dave said, "Well, I know a bloke," and that's how it happened.
So, was it very strange when you first met? Had you met Paul and Tom before?
No,
hadn't.
It was, it was a bit weird because I didn't really know. If I'm really honest, I didn't really know what had happened to Paul. I put it light. I didn't really. The Manfred Mann group weren't really my cup of tea. I quite liked some of the stuff, but they always looked a bit stuck up on the telly to me. They had the sort of the black outfits on, and all their publicity photos, I think they contrived to look quite intellectual and sort of looking down on things a bit. So I was more of a Stones and Beatles come to that kind of chap, Okay. So. Yeah, it was certainly interesting, and they, Paul particularly was really lovely to me, and in fact we got really pally actually. We used to go and play badminton together, and go around each other's house for dinner, with our partners and all that sort of stuff. We wrote quite a lot together as well. So it was great meeting him.
Yeah, because you've written some great stuff. You've written The Green Stuff and Stepping Out on Main.
Yeah.
Among others.
Yes.
I mean, but you also perform with your own band as well, the Gary Fletcher Band, don't you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a naff title, isn't it? But,
well,
you just got to go with
it says what it does on the label, doesn't it?
Yeah, Yes, I do. I mean, it is pretty occasional. I was doing a lot more gigs a couple of years ago, but through various reasons of, well, actually at the moment the reason I'm not doing very much is that I've just bought a house which I'm doing up and want to move into, and I've kind of I kind of dropped the ball really in putting gigs in, but I'm just about to start trying to begging for some work off of some of my usual haunts, and over the next few weeks I'll get something out to them.
Well, you're starting a tour with the blues band fairly soon.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do anything obviously this year, but you have to book these things so far ahead. I do the occasion. I'm doing a little gig for a pal of mine over in Teddington in October. This month. I'm doing that with a violin player called Tom Leary, who I do stuff with from time to time, and doing a gig with Hughie Flint, actually the original blues band drummer, who's playing percussion nowadays with again with the violin player, and Alan Glenn, who's a great blues harmonica player up at the Crooked Billet in Buckinghamshire. I forget where it is now, Stoke Row. That's right.
Okay.
So that's and I'm doing the British. Funny enough, the Great British Folk Festival actually it is at Skegness. Doing that solo.
Is that at Butlins?
In December. That's it, yeah.
Yes.
I've done it before. I love it. Absolutely. I was really snooty about the thought because the blues band first did one of those things years ago, and we were going Butlins. We don't play Butlins. But actually, what a good crack that is. It's a really brilliant weekend, and for the customers, it's an incredible value as well. Really good, and the accommodations. Certainly at least as good as a travel lodge. It's really good fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about the blues band in a few minutes. I need to talk to you about one of your hobbies, race driving.
Oh yeah. I'm racing on Saturday. Funny enough, at Castle Combe.
Are you? You still do it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't do very much partly because it's not the cheapest of hobbies, and I've long since not. Lost the sponsor that I had back in the 90s. So I just do odds and sods. I haven't owned a race car now since 2000. So whenever I do race, it's just either friends' cars. Sometimes I get lucky and I don't have to bring any money at all. I do quite a lot of historic racing when I do it. But I've only done, even with Saturday, I'll only have done about 3 meetings and probably 4 or 5 races during the course of those meetings. Are you
still an instructor? Are you still
Yeah, I do a bit of instructing at Thruxton, mainly if it's race school work, and the other work that I do quite a lot of is with Jaguar. I don't work directly for Jaguar. I work for a company that supplies so-called pro drivers to Jaguar for events, and I do quite a few things like that.
Well, you've been quite successful over the years. In 1998, you won the was it Ford Fiesta Challenge?
Well, the Fiesta Challenge was a few years before, and I've been lying if I said I won that.
It was the Proton Cup.
It was. I came third in the British Championship for it's a one-make series Proton Coupe Cup. It was called. And I couldn't, as ever, do all the races anyway because of
the music,
blues band commitments, clashing, and things like that. So I was pretty proud of myself for getting that, doing that. That was good, and I had an overall win and lots of podiums. And, it was a good time,
Because do you still sing with or play with your son?
Yes, he plays bass in my band, and occasionally, although we haven't done it much recently, we play as a little duo together.
Yeah, called the Fletchers.
Yes, right. Yeah, I should call it Norman Stanley, really.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah, I like that one. That's good.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about the blues band and how the since sort of like the late 70s, it's been sort of quite a phenomenon, hasn't it? You've about 20 albums.
Yes. Oh, indeed. I mean, the first 3 years were amazing. As I said earlier, it just took off, and before we knew what was happening, we were, touring all over the place and making albums and all that stuff. I think by 82, we stopped gigging for quite a long time, actually, and it was early 83 the fifth album came out. So we were quite, given the amount of time that we were on the road, we were quite prolific, in producing 5 albums, although the fifth album was a live album. And then, really, to be honest, I thought it was all over at that point, because Paul went back to acting because he got offered a job with plays with the National Theatre. But in practice, it was only on hold, and we came back with a bang in sort of 84 or 80, I can't remember exactly now, when we did Glastonbury on the main stage.
Would you say that was the highlight of your career? Or
yeah, in some ways. I mean, we did the Pyramid twice, and we've done the acoustic stage and different stages several times over recent years. The last time was two or 3 years ago, I think.
Because you've got a new album out called A Few Short Lines.
Yeah, well, it's been out for about, it's certainly our most recent album.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like the 20th or 21st album, which is
I think
unbelievable.
Right.
Unbelievable. I mean, one question, is there anybody you wish you'd played with or would like to play with now?
Oh, crikey. Well, I'd never be good enough, but Becker and Fagan, Donald Fagan and Walter Becker, Steely Dan.
Yeah, you'd love to play with them, would you?
And I'd love to play with Muddy Waters. I mean, to me, Muddy Waters is, obviously he's no longer drawing breath, but, certainly for my money, it's terrible to say the greatest, but my favourite blues singer of all time. He and, it is the big three. It's Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, and of course Howlin' Wolf, the big three. They're, just amazing. And Willie Dixon, who wrote a lot of songs for Muddy and one or two for Wolf as well, is my favourite, Chicago post-war blues songwriter. So yeah, I'd love to have worked with those guys, but I doubt if I'd have got the gig.
Well, I never know. Is there an ambition you have still, apart from playing with those? Would you like to join Paul in acting, or have you no yearning for that at all?
No, ambitions. I'd love to. I don't think it'll ever happen, if I'm really honest. But I'd like some of my sort of solo stuff to find a wider audience. But I just think I don't have the resources to do the PR, and I certainly don't look pretty enough. Not that I ever did, but
Yeah, you have to be about 16 with blonde hair nowadays, I think, to sell.
Exactly.
Yeah, records
So,
in huge quantities.
That would be nice, but I'd like, of course, I am just waiting for the call from Frank Williams to, join the F1 team for next year. But funny enough, he hasn't rung yet.
No, he's probably the same guy who's going to ring you about Muddy Waters, I think. So, Gary, what would you say is your favourite song, either you play or you like to listen to?
Probably Ricky Don't Lose That Number, Steely Dan. Is
that's a great number.
It's got my favourite ever guitar break on it. And I love playing an instrumental that I wrote, actually, called Afric, A-F-F-R-I-C, which is named after Glen Affric, up in Scotland. And I love playing that. I think
is there a reason you like playing that, or?
I think it's a good tune, but I think I play it quite well, and I don't always think that. So it's a strong tune, and it's very enjoyable to play. It's challenging, and if you get it right, it's very, very satisfying.
Okay, let's take another break and let's play your favourite track. This is Steely Dan and Ricky Don't Lose That Number.
We hear you're leaving back just begun. I guess you kinda scared yourself. You turn and run. But if you have a change of heart, Ricky, don't lose that number. You don't wanna call nobody else. Send it off in a letter to yourself. Ricky, don't lose that number. It's the only one you want. You might use it if you feel better when you get home. I have a friend in town, he's heard your name. We can go out driving on slow hand road. We could stay inside and play games, I don't know. And you could have a change of heart. Ricky, don't lose that number. You don't wanna call nobody else. Send it off in a letter to yourself. Ricky, don't lose that number. It's the only one you want. You might use it if you feel better when you get home. You tell yourself you're not my kind, but you don't even know your mind. And you could have a change of heart. Ricky, don't lose that number. You don't wanna call nobody else. Send it off in a letter to yourself. Ricky, don't lose that number. It's the only one you want. You might use it if you feel better when you get home. Ricky, don't lose that number. Ricky, don't lose that number. Ricky, don't lose that number.
We've just had a call from JBB, and they're after a new logo.
Okay, let's call our logo agency.
Oh, and Jones and Sons need a new brochure.
Right, I'll get on to our brochure agency.
And they'll need some custom illustrations.
Right, I'll call our illustrator.
And bespoke photography.
Okay, and I'll call our photographer.
Tired of having to find a million different people to cover all your creative needs? With over 20 years of experience in a wide variety of media, Grant Kempster can take care of everything, including commercial and corporate designs, illustration and photography.
And finally, we need some leaflets and ads doing for John Smith Associates.
No problem. I'll give Grant Kempster a call.
For more information, visit grantkempster.com.
MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes.
Apart from your motor racing, what other sort of hobbies do you have?
Well, I like... I wouldn't say I'm a real dyed-in-the-wool football fan, but my local team. Well, actually, I've just moved away from southwest London, but my local team then was Brentford, so I like watching how the Bees get on.
Okay.
I like watching football. I'm not, I couldn't claim to be a serious fan in the way that some guys are, but I enjoy watching football. I enjoy watching cricket.
Do you? My game.
Cycling. I love cycling. I cycle quite a lot and used to race a bit when I was a kid. And, yeah, I guess they're it, yeah.
So, I mean, I know you don't tour as much as you used to, but do you still really enjoy the buzz of live performance? Probably a stupid question, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like anything. If you... when you've got a month of gigs ahead and you haven't done anything for a while, the first 4 or 5 nights are just fantastic. And then, it gets a little bit routine. And then, by the end of it, I wouldn't say you're back to the start, but you're really enjoying it. If you're touring too hard and if you're not getting along with the people that you're touring with, it can be pretty stressful. It's a difficult thing to... I think people in my position sound very miserable if they start whinging about, it's a tough life and it's hard and all that. In some ways, it's not a regular life, put it that way. So
No.
I think there are stresses and strains that I think anybody who turns a hobby into their living, on the face of it, it is obviously a dream come true. The practical side of it can sometimes colour the purity, if you like, of the enjoyment that you had when it was just a hobby. But that's not to, to cry wolf or anything.
No, I think
it's just how it is. I've been very lucky. I kind of cobbled together what almost passes for a living out of 2 dodgy sort of jobs, really.
But I mean, to me, the travelling would be the thing that would be the downside for me, or the travelling, the stopping one night and then moving on again. I would always find that a problem.
I mean, I've mitigated that to some extent personally, because one thing that I do, if I never stay in another hotel again, it would be too soon. So I often I've got a small camper van. I mean, it's a bit bigger than a VW, and it's on a sort of Fiat Ducato chassis. It's like a high-top conversion, I think they call it. And it's got a bed and it's got a loo in it and all that. And most of the time in England, if I can, I'll use that. And that is my own little space. And of course I can go places in that which I simply, couldn't go, I can go and park up on Dartmoor if I want. Or, I'm very self-contained, and as long as you're careful not to, upset anybody. I often stay on proper sites anyway. And,
okay. I mean,
I love that.
You've been very lucky, travelled all over England, travelled all over the world. Is there anybody you'd like to play you've never played?
Yeah, I'd love to play on the west coast of America. I've never done that. Played in New York. That's the only time I've ever played in America. We did tour Canada, but and the other place would be New Zealand, which I have been to New Zealand, but only on a holiday, and I loved it.
Yeah, I did as well. It's a fabulous country, isn't it? It's like Britain was 30 years ago.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great place.
People are really, really nice. The country's fantastic, and tremendous spot.
Well, final question, then we'll sort of talk about the concerts, the show that's coming up. What's your idea of a perfect weekend? If I was going to offer you the perfect weekend.
That's a good question. Well, obviously, if I'm working, that it's a really good gig. Obviously, one of those nights when Kate Moss comes up and just says, "Gary, you're the best thing since..." No, that never happens. Obviously, it's a good show, and that I've found somewhere nice to park up my little house on wheels, and then the following day, if Sunday, maybe watch a bit of F1, or if I'm really lucky, do a bit of racing.
Okay.
But as long as obviously it's always much nicer when my lady's by my side and all that sort of stuff. So that's probably about as good as it gets, I
Yeah. So the Blues Band are coming to the area on it's on the 5th of Thursday, the 5th of December. You're coming and playing at the Wavendon Stables.
Oh,
I know you've been there before. It's absolutely wonderful theatre, great acoustics. And
and really nice people as well, because an awful lot of the staff there are volunteers.
That's right.
They really look after us. I've done it a couple of times with other people as well. I've done it on my own, actually. I did the studio there years ago. I must contact Alison and get myself booked in there again. I really enjoyed doing that.
Well,
a good turnout.
I hope Alison listens. Actually, I know a lot of the stable staff actually listen to the show, so that's quite
brilliant.
Good. That's good. Yeah, you're going to be there on Thursday, the 5th of December. Are you going to be playing? I assume you'll be playing tracks from the latest album as well as all the 20 you've recorded before.
We will play some from the new album. It's very difficult to accommodate everything, you know. I mean, we play for 2.25 hours, I think it is in total.
Wow, it's good value for money.
And it's I think it is. But it's, you know, obviously in 2 sets, and just trying to fit everything in, you know, it's pretty tough. But there is a suggestion this time that we will. There's an album I think it's an album and a CD of Rock Palaces, the show that really broke us in Germany back in 1980. It was a huge venue, 8,000 or 9,000 venue, the Krugerhalle in Essen in Germany, and it was something that was it went out live on television. There was we were the sort of the opening act, actually. It was us, Joan Armatrading, Ian Hunter and Mick Ronson with headliners ZZ Top. And it was obviously it was filmed by a German I forget the name of them, but German TV company, and there's a label called, gosh, I forgot what they're bloody called now. But anyway, they're releasing the show on DVD and CD. So we're talking about maybe resurrecting a few tracks from that. And,
okay, that'd be great.
Fun, going back all that time. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. So if people obviously need to come and see you at the stables, they need to book their tickets very early.
Yeah, we normally do very well there, and it's, well, I can't speak for everybody, but it's certainly one of my absolute favourite gigs to do.
So many musicians tell me that. It's just
anybody else, you know, or on my own, you know. It's a fantastic room to play.
Yeah, well, you feel like you're. I mean, I've been in the audience many times. I've never been on stage, which is probably good for everybody. You actually feel like you're sitting on the stage with the artists.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a really cleverly designed room, both acoustically and physically. In as much as I think the layout of it does encourage that intimacy, which you don't often get in rooms that size. You know, so it's good.
Well, Gary, I'll let you know, we're almost out of time for today, so thank you very much for, you know, talking to us today about the Blues Band, about your career and other things. And I wish you good luck at the stables.
Thank you.
this night will be gone. Here comes the milkman, dragging up the dawn. Come closer and sway with me. Look at you and me, we can be rocking in rhythm like Rogers and Astaire. Here we are, swinging on a star, slow dancing from here to there. I'm hoping and praying you'll find sweet reasons for staying. Come closer and sway with me.
There we are, that was 2 in a row from Gary and the Fabulous Blues Band. First we heard Sway With Me from their new album, A Few Short Lines, followed by the classic Boom Boom, Out Go the Lights. Like to thank Gary Fletcher for being my guest today. Next week we're starting Christmas. It seems a long way off, it's only just over a month away. But we're going to be doing a series of shows covering the pantos in the area. The first one we're starting off with is the 2 stars of Beauty and the Beast at the Hartford Theatre. Going to be talking to the gentleman who's playing the Beast and the Prince, David Malcolm, and also Alex Hendy-Furdy, who's actually going to be playing Rose, who is the Beauty, and I can assure you she is a great beauty. I've been Terry Sullivan. This has been the Sticks Radio Show. Until next week, it's bye for now.
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.